So what do you do if you're absolutely committed to destroying a presidency? What do you do? What do you do if you want to make sure that a president goes down in history badly and that his or her legacy and that of his or her party is one of failure? Of course, the easiest thing to do is blow up the economy. Just look at Herbert Hoover. Hoover was a very thoughtful president who did or tried to do a lot of things for the nation. By the standards of today's politics, he might even be called a moderate Democrat, although he was a Republican. He was a strong supporter of regulation, supported tariffs on imports. He helped create America's national park system, many of this nation's VA hospitals. He proposed a national pension plan, which was rejected by Congress. He tried to give low-income Americans a tax cut, which was also shot down by a Republican-controlled Congress. But despite his list of accomplishments and relatively rational policies, Hoover will forever be remembered by history as being the guy who was in the White House when the stock market crashed in 1929. Like 8 months into his presidency. Right now, America is really, really vulnerable because of 32 years of Reaganomics and because of Phil Graham's massive deregulation of the banksters. With Gramm-Leach-Bliley and the Commodity Futures Modernization Act back at the end of the Clinton presidency. Our economy is also weak because of insane trade policies adopted by both the Reagan and the Clinton presidencies. I mean, it really doesn't take a lot to keep our economy in the gutter or to make it even worse. And because giant corporations have shut down in the last decade over 2 million U.S. jobs and shipped them overseas, government spending has become a strong lever that can flip the economy for better or for worse. So if you want to completely crash the economy, the best way to do it is to slash government spending. And that's exactly what Republicans have been doing ever since President Obama lost a filibuster-proof Senate when Scott Brown was sworn in to replace the late Ted Kennedy on February 4th, 2010. As economist Paul Krugman brilliantly points out in his blog for the New York Times, real government spending has been in a free fall since 2010, all thanks to Republican-driven austerity measures. As Krugman writes, you can see that there was a brief, modest spurt in spending associated with the Obama stimulus, but it has long since been outweighed and swamped by a collapse in spending without precedent in the past half century. Much of the recent drop in real government spending is associated with a devastating sequester, which Republicans know is the most brutal and terrible form of austerity, and the form of austerity that is most likely to wreck the economy and therefore destroy the Obama presidency. And that's why conservative groups are committed to having the sequester hit Americans at full force, which is why they're attacking fellow conservatives in Washington, D.C., like Paul Ryan, who are willing to just slightly release the brakes on austerity. These conservative groups and their affiliated members in Congress aren't just partisan politicians or conservative ideologues. They're radicals, hell-bent on destroying the Obama presidency and the Democratic Party in the process. The bad news here is that because of gerrymandering, these radicals control the House and the Senate continue to filibuster any legislation that might improve the economy. But the good news is that Americans are finally starting to figure out which party is on their side and what Republicans are really all about. These guys aren't statesmen. They're not even decent politicians. They're political hacks and shills for the billionaire class and for the corporations, and they want to destroy the party that stands for the interests of working Americans. Shane, do you have that clip, FDR 5 clips? It's, if you can easily find it, it's the next to the last and last clips, I think. But this is what FDR said back in 1936 when he was nominated to be president. He said, "These economic royalists complain that we seek to overthrow the institutions of America. What they really complain of is that we seek to take away their power. And our allegiance to American institutions requires the overthrow of this kind of power." He goes on to say, "In vain they seek to hide behind the flag and the Constitution. In their blindness, they forget what the flag and the Constitution stand for. Now, as always, They stand for democracy, not tyranny, for freedom, not subjection, and against a dictatorship by mob rule and the overprivileged alike. You get the clip? No? Okay. It's time to call out these overprivileged economic royalists for what they really are. They're not conservatives. They're not Republicans in a way that Barry Goldwater or Ronald Reagan would recognize. These guys are political thugs. Plain and simple. I don't know any other way to say it. You know, I'm pretty sure I've got it here. And hang on just a second. FDR. Here we go. I got it. I can play it from my computer. And it is coming up right now. Here we go. Okay, this is Franklin Delano Roosevelt, 1936.
These economic royalists complain that we seek to overthrow the institutions of America. What they really complain of is that we seek to take away their power. Our allegiance and our allegiance to American institutions requires the overthrow of this kind of power.
Now, can you imagine President Obama saying, you know, our allegiance to American institutions requires the overthrow of the Koch brothers kind of power. It requires the overthrow of Shelley Adelson's kind of power.
In vain, they seek to hide behind the flag and the Constitution. But in their blindness, they forget what the flag and the Constitution stand for. Now, as always, for over a century and a half, the flag, the Constitution, stand against a dictatorship by mob rule and the overprivileged alike. And the flag and the Constitution stand for democracy, not tyranny, for freedom, not subjection.
There you go. And the people went nuts. And they said, yes, you are right. You are our president. We will reelect. This was the end of his first term. And he was calling these guys out. You know, if I had any control over the viewing room, you know, the theater in the White House where the president can go and watch movies and things, I would get old FDR newsreels and say, you got to see this. You got to see this. You got to listen to this. You know, here's FDR. I mean, you know, he's just calling these guys out. He's just, you know, it's just.
Private enterprise.
Whoops. There it goes.
Private enterprise, indeed, became too private.
Too private.
It became privileged enterprise.
Privilege.
Not free enterprise.
Yeah, it became privileged enterprise, not free enterprise. And then it created the American Legislative Exchange Council, ALEC, and then it took over the Republican Party, and then it took over America, and now we have a serious problem with a political thug class now starting to eat their own. I mean, now they're going after John Boehner, of all people. 15 minutes past the hour.